153-154 BYU Washington. This is a later game on the West Coast here. It looks like Washington laying 17, going from a game we all like the over to a game that's totaled at 44. College football totaled at 44. What's going on here? Big man, you want to start us off BYU Washington?
Yeah, I think if we look at disappointments, I mean, I know Washington's obviously played well this year, and their only loss is to Auburn in a close game. But look, I haven't really been blown away by this group. I haven't been that impressed. I thought Arizona State would struggle against Washington just because I look at what Washington could do defensively, and I think with Arizona State, I thought they'd give them a lot of problems. They didn't. I mean, it really was a close game. Arizona State played pretty well, even with not very many yards. This BYU team's pretty good. They have a good defense. They have a solid run game, and I think that's where BYU is going to want to establish that. This is a lot of points to lay where BYU is going to look to just sit on the ball, run the football. The one thing I do worry about though is Mangum. Their passing game has been poor. They need to get better moving the football through the air. They've had a lot of drop passes, which they need to correct a little bit. But I'm looking at principle in this game. I think BYU's a lot better football team than they were last year. I think they're looking at this game and really circling it. I think this is probably the biggest game of the year for this group. They're 3-1. They had a nice start to the season. They've already beaten Wisconsin, as we know, on the road. I think this is a dangerous number to give a team that will just sit on the ball, run the ball, play good defense. That's what Sataki's teams generally do. I haven't been overly impressed with Washington. You look at recently, I mean, they beat Utah, but it was only by 14. They didn't do anything amazing in that game. Struggled against Arizona State at home as well. I'm willing to think if you can get 17, that looks like a pretty solid number here. I'm looking towards the underdog.
That Utah game was a lot closer than the score leads on as
Sure.
well. Kelly, anything on BYU Washington?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was on Utah on that one, and I watching the game thought for a better part of it I was still in it. I think I don't remember, maybe 4.5 or something in that one because I bet it a little too late. This BYU team is better, I think, than we originally thought, but I also think this Washington team is still really good. I will say this: when everybody picks you to win the Pac-12 and thinks you're going to upset Auburn right out of the gate, yeah, the level of play and the standard set for you is a little bit higher. And a lot of what people don't realize is these lines are built off public perception as well. Last week we talked about it. I thought that this Arizona State team was a little overhyped. I ended up on San Diego State, and I said, coming back this week, I think that they are the right side here. It's just too many points, and sure enough, they were able to get the cover. I think Washington's going to play a little bit tougher this week. I think the line is right on the money, but guess what? Washington isn't covering games. 1-3 against the spread this year. If you don't want to cover games, it's apparent. And it seems like this team either isn't able to pull away. I'm not sure what their struggling woes are, but they definitely don't have that great team mentality. Trying to find something positive to say one side or another. I think they're averaging. Their offense is better than I think probably we've seen in the past. But Jake Browning's got to step up here and play a great game against an okay BYU team. I agree with Big Man. I like Sataki. I think he's a really good coach, and I think the BYU is an improved team over what we've seen in the past couple of years. But I still think that win over Wisconsin was a little fluky. That's why I ended up on Wisconsin last week. I think there was a definite overreaction to that one.
And Drew, I think another thing you got to look at here with BYU. I mean, their goal is to keep the football on the ground. And look, I mean, Washington has struggled a bit with that. I mean, they're giving up over 4 yards a carry. BYU is just going to say, listen, we're going to put the ball on the ground. We're going to just try to get 5 or 6 yards of carry. You try to move the sticks that way, the occasional throw. They have a decent quarterback. That's going to eat up a lot of time in this game. And like Kelly said, I think she said it perfectly. This Washington team doesn't cover games. I mean, I remember last year, they're laying a lot of points. They're barely winning. They have a kicker that seems to leave points in the field all the time. All you need is one or two things to go wrong in a number like this. Washington's not a team that generally runs the score up. I mean, they did it against North Dakota, but I mean, who cares? I mean, the other two games were close games, and like you said, Drew, were a lot closer than people think. I think this is a big time game for BYU. And one of the chat guys makes a good point. I mean, when you're dealing with BYU, you are playing, I think, about as close to a military school as you can get. These are older kids. These are kids that are pretty, for the most part, pretty disciplined. You are getting that similar military atmosphere. I feel like for a lot of these kids. I like BYU. I think they can hang around here. I think this is a tough game for Washington.
Something else to consider, big man. I'm looking here at some of my notes there. +5 turnovers on the season. So if you can win the turnover battle, it's definitely going to help you in covering games. Jake Browning isn't perfect. He is okay, but he isn't perfect when it comes to that. And so if they can capitalize here off a nice big turnover, that may be the difference whether they can cover this game or not.
And that's another what a great point. Another great point by Kelly. Kelly ate her Wheaties this morning, as always. Terrific stuff, Kelly. Always good. Um, she's right. I mean, Washington has had the problem turning the football over, and 8 turnovers in the last 3 games for Brigham Young. They are opportunistic, and that's the way you hang around in games. She's totally right. I think we pegged this one pretty good, Drew.
Yeah, I like it too. Everything you guys said, it makes. I was looking towards BYU plus the points. I think I'm going to get there.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.